Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroLada.com, and these are your September 2024 horoscopes. And September, we have the start of eclipse season. And for the first time in 18 years, we are going to have an eclipse in Pisces with the North Node. 9 years ago, we had eclipses in Pisces again, but with the South Node. Now it's with the North Node. They carry different energy. So the first eclipse in a new sign, we're going to have a new direction in life, a new karmic direction, personally and collectively. New trends will be emerging. The other big event this September is that from the beginning of September, Pluto is re-entering for the last time in your lifetime ever, Capricorn. Oh, and by the way, this year I tasked astrologer Christina with making the 2025 written horoscopes for each of the 12 signs, 120 pages for each of the signs. What is happening every day with every transit, with every ingress, every eclipse, every new moon, full moon, specifically for your sun, moon, or ascendant. It's incredible. Those written and video horoscopes are out if you want to buy them. I'm putting a link below. I'm very proud of this work. I'm very proud with the work that Christina did. So let's continue with September. And we're going to pass through all the 12 signs, but let's first talk a little bit how these two events can affect us collectively. And for the world events and personally as well, and then we'll go for the 12 signs, maybe for more specific manifestations. So Pluto is going back to Capricorn. Oops, oh, you can't see this, okay. I'm not going to use it then. For the last time in our lives. The next time it will be in Capricorn again, will be in 240 years or something like that. And it's going to be in Capricorn the whole September, the whole October until the 18th, 19th of November. So 2.5 months. So Pluto entered Capricorn 2008, exactly around the time when we had the big financial crash. When Pluto changes signs, usually at the very beginning when it first enters a sign, and the very last time it enters a sign, we see major events. And 2008, with this financial crisis crash, we started witnessing the dismantling, because Pluto dismantles things, destroy them, of faith in people and institutions. Capricorn is institutions, governments, big corporations, any hierarchical structures that were pillars of society for hundreds of years for us, that we trusted blindly and, you know, without questioning. And this has been dismantling slowly since 2008. How many people trust their governments? How many people trust the banks and corporations anymore? And all the dirty stuff, which is Pluto, puts to the surface, all the dirty business, all the dirty underwear, as they say, to the surface, so people can see it. But at the same time, Pluto is the planet of control. So what has happened since then? Governments, corporations, big institutions, they have been putting more regulations, tightening the control. We saw during this period from 2008 till now, COVID happened. We saw so many new rules, regulations, which is very Capricornian in energy, much more control. And Pluto likes to consolidate the power in one place. Pluto likes to do a power grab, just like a few corporations, big ones like Amazon's, like the big ones that there was a transfer of $3 billion, $3 trillion. $3 trillion from the middle class, normal businesses, mom and pop shops, into the hands of big corporations again during Pluto in Capricorn era that we've been through. So Pluto is this tiny planet, but it wants to consolidate power grab. And they have been doing it, those corporations, big businesses. But at the same time, Pluto exposes this dirt, and people collectively, because Pluto also rules the evolutionary level of consciousness of humanity as well. So people have been understanding those things. At the same time, those corporations and anything Capricornian ruled have been tightening their control. So what can we expect? Pluto going back there into Capricorn for the last time, a last push, kind of very intense, trying to grab power in some way, trying to take power from the lower levels of the pyramids, concentrating it into the higher levels of the pyramids. So maybe in the news for the next 2.5 months, there'll be a lot of these issues that we're talking about. And it started with the financial crisis. I don't know. I'm not making anything scary. I'm not trying to say that there'll be a big crash again, but it might be the Pluto last ingress into Capricorn might start this. And because Pluto can destroy as well, it can start destroying some of those banks and financial institutions and structures, the old structures. Last time for Pluto, first of all, for them to try and grab more power, at the same time dismantling them. So let's see how this plays out. It will be interesting. In a personal level, and you'll see a lot some very important things with governments. We have the elections in America during that time. This power struggles with governments, with structures. Capricorn is all structures of political power and control, big clashes as well between such roles, in such areas. But watch out the bankings, watch out the big corporations, the big governments, what they're doing, because it will escalate, and possibly for the last time, not possibly, for the last time. And on the personal level, Pluto going back into Capricorn will be kind of a last chance to take personal responsibility in some area of our life, to really centralize in some sort the power in certain area that it's more consolidated. So this can be very good on a personal level. We'll look where exactly in your life it can be as well. And Pluto will stay for those 2 months at the 29th critical degree at the very end of Capricorn. 29th degree is a karmic degree of endings, of completions. So you might complete something. Is there something you've been struggling since many years, maybe 14, 15, or longer or shorter? While Pluto was in Capricorn, that some repeat, and the lessons of Capricorn are very slow. Maybe you've tried something over and over and over, and maybe it's giving results, but slower than you want. Or maybe you're struggling with some problem. You've been struggling with some issue that keeps cropping up. And now Pluto coming back into Aquarius for the last time, it has the possibility to finally resolve this karmic situation that has been troubling you, that has been repeated and very slowly giving results. After that, Pluto will move into Aquarius again for the next 18 years. And all issues that we encounter will be much faster. The energy of Aquarius is bam, bam, bam. The problems get solved faster. Aquarius is this very fast, quick energy, fast changes, turns around. Oh. While Capricorn, where Pluto is like you're digging slowly. And you think you're there, but you're not fully there. So now you have a last chance to the culmination of something you've been doing for a long time, to see the results of it, to reap the rewards or the results of it, for better or worse. 29 degrees of karmic, as I said. You see the results of your previous actions, and something ends. Something ends in a powerful way in your life, but it's something you've been doing for a long time in a positive way, or struggling in a long time for a long way. And the resolution has been slow, but the next 2.5 months, it's coming. There is this kind of peak of realization of something and resolution of some issue in your life. And of course, we have the full moon, the full moon eclipse on the 18th of September. That's the other big event in September. I can't show it to you, but the full moon is here. Imagine this is the moon that is being eclipsed by the North Node Rahu, and it's hemmed in between Saturn and Neptune. Ooh, Saturn and Neptune in a very karmic sign in Pisces. As I said, it's the first time in 19 years we're going to have an eclipse, or 18 years in Pisces again with the North Node. And the eclipses are happening till now in Aries, Libra, but this is the first one in Pisces, so new theme is coming. And what are eclipses? It is like changing the rails, and it's like fated events that realign you with the direction, the course in your life. On a personal level, usually if it affects you, if you have anything around 25 degrees Pisces, Virgo, or any planet there, I would say even from 20 till 30 degrees Pisces or Virgo, you would feel it the strongest, whether it's your ascendant, sun or moon or some other planet. That can be a huge new direction, and events around eclipses, they're quick, they're fast, they throw us into, they make a big change in our life. Usually these are fated events, these are karmic events, these are events that are part of, they were programmed in us, so to speak. That's why many times people like births, deaths, pregnancies, marriages, meeting someone, divorcing from someone, any of those really big events, starting a new career, something that really redefines the direction in your path, redefines the tracks that your train is running on, changes the derails and changes it in a different direction. So very big changes happening here that we're going to see. And collectively and personally, collectively, Pisces is connected to water. And we can watch now in September big events connected either to flooding. Saturn is connected to dams or to water as well, Saturn in Pisces. Neptune is connected to water as well. So water, floods, hurricanes, Neptune and Pisces rule the big natural events. Let's say like big natural, sometimes can be disasters, but when the nature shows its might, this is Pisces. This is Neptune as well, and it's part of the eclipse. And if you look at the background, the constellations behind is still the Pisces, the fishes, and the eclipse is happening right between the one of the fishes and right next to the waters of the water bearer. This is the constellation. So there is a lot of water connotations there. So watch what is happening in the water. Watch what is happening with the water, with their natural phenomena pertaining to water as well. And the drinking water as well. There might be something that is there to watch out for. And floods and rains and such kind of stuff can also be another topic. Also Pisces, where the eclipse is happening, rules anything that is foreign, anything that is unknown to us. And they can be very strong escalation of xenophobia, because Saturn, the planet of resentment, is there. Square Jupiter. Jupiter is in Pisces, is in Gemini. Gemini is local people. And this full moon eclipse activates the square between Jupiter and Saturn, which, as I was speaking before, Jupiter is in Gemini, local people, while Saturn is in Pisces, which is the unknown, the refugees, the illegals, or whatever you know, people that are not from your culture, people that are not familiar from you. There has been a clash when Saturn and Jupiter happen in August, the square. That's when the big clashes happen in France, in England. In England, I think there were. And there was this big escalation, the government punishing people for writing against immigration and so on. Exactly like we were speaking before that, at the beginning of July and the beginning of August already, that this is going to happen. This eclipse escalates again, the square between Saturn and Jupiter, locals and foreigners. Pisces is illegal immigrants or immigrants, aliens, and so on. So there can be activation of this topic, this escalation of tension as well. So watch out for anything Pisces related. Pisces is also the health system, has hospitals, invisible threats like viruses. And I shared on my social media that those two eclipses in Pisces, first one in September, where the moon is between Saturn and Neptune. So it's activating the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in the sign of Pisces, which is known, Saturn and Neptune are known as a combination to trigger health problems and pandemics. 1917, when Saturn and Neptune were again together. I don't think they were in Pisces together, but they were again conjunct. That was the Spanish flu period, when they did like a big vaccination and a lot of, it spread all over the world. Now they're coming together. They're actually getting closest together next July 2025 and then in 2026. But this eclipse now is triggering them already. And then again in March. in March of 2025, they'll be much closer together, Saturn and Neptune, and there'll be another eclipse in Pisces, but solar eclipse, that's the one that I'm most worried for when it comes to illness and pandemics and such kind of, Pisces, anything invisible that can be attacking us in some way. But it's already activated in September, so I'm putting it out there, not to scare you, but just looking back what happened in previous times when Saturn and Neptune are together. And in Pisces in particular, on the axis of Pisces, Virgo, which is connected to disease and such matters. And this eclipse being in Pisces also can activate matters connected to karma. That is the last sign, paying off karma, seeing the results. It's a full moon eclipse to see the results of something. And the karma can be really good. If you've been doing good actions till then, you can be reaping something really good on a personal level. Or it can be collectively, for humanity, there can be something that is an escalation of the intense collective feelings and moods collectively. Because it's Pisces after all, these are the feelings. So that's why natural phenomena can be happening as well as an escalation of the feelings of humans in some way. The gathering of the astro, because Pisces rules the astro, the feelings, the emotions, the anger, and the collective energy, it's kind of unloading now with this full moon eclipse. That's why I'm talking about more events that are very powerful, natural, or nature related in some way. But also Pisces on a high vibration is the consciousness of humanity and the ability to shift the consciousness in a powerful way, to shift to the next level. Consciousness jumps are powerful. So I see over the next year and a half, too, we have Pisces eclipses, huge spiritual awakening for you. On a personal level, it might be really powerful, awakening, intuitive resolution, seeing a problem from a much higher perspective in a certain area of your life where Pisces falls in. It's almost like you intuitively download the understanding in a higher perspective and you're above that thing. You raise your vibrationless level in that area of your life. So this is collectively. Now we can look quickly for each of the 12 signs. For Aries, for example, but Pluto is coming back into your 10th house, Aries. And for the last time in your life, Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. I always check first the ascendant sign, then you can check your Sun and Moon for extra details. So you might be completing over the next 2-3 months something connected to career, or you might come back to some unfinished project in regards to your career that you are trying to put life back to it, because Pluto is also to revive something that you've abandoned, and you're trying to complete it, to see it to a resolution, to an ending. Or there can be like some big change that you're doing over the next 2.5 months with your career. Maybe you're abandoning one aspect of your career or one role with your career that you identify with and changing for something. Maybe I would say by November, you might see how things are really changing there. Or maybe you've been grappling with some issue in regards to your career or your public role, or with some institutions or father figure, or with some authority figure that you've been struggling with, or with your own career and your own authority and your own personal responsibility in life that you've been struggling with or you've been dealing with, and now you can have a conclusion. Now you can have a culmination and a resolution of such a matter finally. Now, the eclipse on the 18th of September is happening in your 12th house, Aries, in Pisces. This eclipse can affect the view some very strongly because many Aries people might have planets in Pisces. Pay attention, especially if this planet is around the 25th degree. This can be life-altering, but otherwise the 12th house is about letting go of something. Or so this powerful eclipse can be a time to release, especially 12th house is connected to self-sabotaging behaviors like addictions, like they might not be physical ones, they might be psychological, your personal fears that are blocking you from growing. So this can be like a big breakthrough that the eclipse does for you with some internal fears, addictions, self-sabotaging behaviors that are blocking you. Maybe a psychologist can help you, or maybe it can be spontaneous and internal resolution, and spontaneous and internal seeing the situation from a higher perspective, seeing a certain problem that you've been grappling with, a certain loss as well. It might be from a higher perspective that frees you. After all, the 12th house is a house of liberation, moksha, spiritual liberation that allows you to get your consciousness to a higher level. So it can be even a portal for some of you, for mystical experiences, for seeing a situation from a higher vibrational perspective and shifting it there. It's an internal revolution for you. It's an internal spiritual shift of higher consciousness. But for some of you, it can be activation of something connected to foreign countries, to faraway places, some important development. If you've been doing something connected to some faraway places, foreign countries, they can be powerful activations now. Of course, 12th house is the house of losses. So yes, we have to be careful if you're in Aries for something connected to losses. Just keep it in mind. Also, secrets and hidden enemies can come to the surface. They can be shining of understanding of something that's been happening behind your back that you are not aware of, and that is brought to your attention now. And that is impactful. It's kind of important for you to know this now, that it's important for your spiritual development. It's important for your life overall. So yeah, secret, something hidden coming to the surface. But the 12th house is also a very inspirational house of downloading information, of your dream world, of connection to the invisible worlds, where areas you can have messages or connect with your past lives, or connect with something from your subconscious that was buried deeply, to heal it, to realize it, to bring it to the surface, to become aware of it in some way. All right. Or it might be connected as well to faraway traveling, to faraway places, but I would advise you not to do it exactly around the eclipse time, because this eclipse is with Saturn. So might not be the most pleasant experience, let's say. If you're a Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising, Pluto is entering for the last time in your life for 2.5 months, your 9th house. If you have some unresolved issues connected to legal matters, to higher education, to the court systems as well, this might be the final, it's like the resolution to it for the next 2.5 months, though. It might come back to you, but it's for a final time to be resolved. It might mean also coming back to some education or higher knowledge to complete it, to resolve it. Or if you've been working very hard on something connected to 9th house, teaching, traveling, something, relocation to a foreign country, legal papers for foreign residents, or even connected to import, exports, business with foreigners in some way, interactions with foreigners, you can see the results of it. You can finally, it's the final time Pluto is there, you can finally see the results of it, or the last results of it. But also it can mean that you, if you've been having problems with such matters, this is the final time you'll have problems. They'll be resolved, whether it's educational, whether it's for higher knowledge, for foreign countries, travels, and so on. It can be resolved. Or problems with father figures and teacher figures and mentor figures, which is the ninth house. Again, this can be resolved for the last time, finally, and you're left alone after that in that area of life. Also, it can be this big time, last chance to take a big responsibility of your worldview, to reshape it, to transform it, your belief systems, and to burst the bubble of illusions in regards to your belief systems, to really, and you've been doing this for a long time, your belief system. Oh, your 9th house is also your higher mind. So this is powerful chance for the next 2.5 months to have like a spiritual breakthrough, to have like a psychological breakthrough to a higher perspective, which is the 9th house, to see a problem from a higher, bigger, different perspective in some way. Okay, and then the eclipse for you, Tauruses, which is happening in Pisces, this would be more your 11th house. This is the first eclipse in many years, since many years, happening in your 11th house. And it is with Saturn, it is with Neptune. Something big can be happening in regards to your friendships. And yeah, there can be some crisis there or shake up, or you deciding to release because it's Pisces, to release, to let go, and to put boundaries, Saturn, to friendships or participation in groups or communities that are no longer necessary, or that are maybe more unhealthy rather than healthy for you, more unhelpful than positive for you. There can be some big change happening in the life of friends around you, or older siblings. 11th house is also your goals and dreams, your long-term goals and dreams, your desires. And this can be a big activation to do something there. And it is a full moon eclipse, so maybe some goal, long-term goal or dream that you've been working on, that you can really start activating for the next 2-3 months after the eclipse. And that there is the need for hard work there, Saturn, but also you'll be seeing results. You'll be seeing developments there in some important ways. 11th house is also your income, or some kind of income that comes from extra side business, for example. So this might activate for you hard work with Saturn there, and inspiration with Neptune in that direction as well, seeing the results, maybe to receive some bonus, maybe if you've been working hard till then in some area of life, in some long-term goals, in some big project of yours, you might start seeing the results now. And the rewards from it, because the 11th house rules gains and earnings and rewards of some sort. So this eclipse can activate for you rewards as well. Gemini Sun, Moon, Rising. Pluto is coming back for the last time in your life in your 8th house for the next 2.5 months, almost till the end of November. You might have like a last revisit with some unresolved psychological issue or 8th house rules, anything that has more power over us than we have over it. It might be an obsession, it might be a compulsion, it might be some kind of a trauma as well that you haven't overcome. And Pluto is there for the last time. Maybe 8th house, the house of death and loss. And if you've lost someone or something that you may be still mourning in some way, it might be last time revisit for you, but also healing, total release from that, and healing and coming out of this dark tunnel by the end of November after that, totally healed and renewed and free from compulsion, obsession, or something that has more control power over you. Also, if you've been struggling with some power struggle, for example, the 8th house can be that. It might be some power struggle with a partner or business partner, or about values, or about money, or some battle, because 8th house is the house of the battleground. It's a battle has been going for years in your life in certain area. This is the last time it's coming around and to be resolved. It's the last degree of Capricorn, to be resolved, to be freed from it, to be, even sometimes 8th house is connected to court cases and such matters, when people are battling it out, whether for money or something else. It might be the final, the resolve, the ending of it. Also, if there were some situations that take advantage of you, that feels like your power was taken away, that there was an abuse of power in some way, this is coming back for the last time, so you can take your power back. So this time you're not the victim anymore, but you feel empowered, and you feel like the one who has the cards in their hands now, who has the upper hand, as they say. So it can be some powerful psychological healing for some of you. Also, if 8th house is also matters of, if you've been battling it out for some alimony or money from government, unearned money, this is money that comes to you from others, that is owed to you from others. It might be the final chapter of it, ending after that. 8th house is also the house of banks and investments and hidden money as well. So there might be something there that you're completing and you're seeing the results of. And of course, it's one of the houses of intimacy. There'll be some issues and power struggles in your intimate life as well, or problems there. It can be the last time where these issues get resolved in some way. But basically, the eighth house is one of the hardest houses, which rules. I mentioned so many things, but crisis, if your life since 2008 has had a lot of ups and downs as a Gemini, this is the last time Pluto has been building in you strong emotional resilience, basically. It's a long time period in the eighth house. It's lessons. It's very hard in the eighth house. It can take you from ups and downs, big shifts in life, transformations, emotional crisis of sorts, and reversals in life. But this is the final of it, and you're coming out of it much more emotionally, let's say, empowered, emotionally resilient. And yeah, so this is the last point of it. For example, some of you might receive some money they've been, trying to get. Some of you might receive in the spirit release from obsessions, from compulsions, from a situation of trauma, from experience of trauma from the past as well, from some power gain that it's happening in your life. You can get the resolve of it, being freed from it finally. Okay. Then for you, Gemini, there is the eclipse as well. The eclipse, so if you're here, the eclipse is happening in your 10th house, especially Gemini from 20 to 30 degrees. Might feel it very strongly because the eclipse is at 25 degrees, but there is a big focus on your career and what you can contribute to the world. So for some of you, it can be a shift. As I said, I was describing it. Eclipses is like shifting of the rails that your train is driving on, is riding on. And it might be in your career. So over the next 3 months, for some of you, might have a big shift from one career direction to another, or might be completing some project in regards to career that you've been working on sometimes, seeing the results of it, because lunar eclipse is about seeing the results of it. There can be a big change in relationships with authority figures, maybe a boss going, a new one coming or something, or with your father figure. If there is a father in your life, there might be something big happening and changing in their life. And also with your own authority, which is the 10th house, that you're realizing something on a deep level and you're deciding either to commit more deeply or to take on some project or to finish some project connected to your career, connected to your personal responsibilities and actions. Now, if you're Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, Pluto is coming for the last time ever in your life, in your 7th house for the next 2.5 months. And Pluto has been in your 7th house for 14, 15, 16 years now, since 2008. And maybe a lot of you went through a lot of ups and downs in their personal relationships. Maybe someone appeared over the last 13 to 14 years in your life that really transformed your life, but also might have made it hell, because Pluto can be both, Pluto challenges us to the biggest evolutionary growth, but usually it's not easy. It might be through crisis. Oh, my husband is Cancer as well, so I appeared in his life during that time. So there can be last vestiges of this kind of especially if you're not in the right relationship, or if you're in a relationship that has outgrown its power and it's more toxic now than transformational for you. This can be the last breaths of such a relationship, or this can be the last reckoning there. Or if you've been having some problems, or your partner has been going through difficult issues for years, possibly, or in your relationships with others, business or personal partners, there's been more power struggles or more crisis. This is the last of it. And there is a completion and resolution and even healing with this last visit of Pluto in your 7th house. Or if there's been an equal power in some relationship, it might be a relationship with a friend or with a loved one. Basically, what we call power struggles again. This can escalate a little bit, but only to be finally resolved and to leave your life and to never come back again. So there might be really like a powerful exodus of toxic, poisonous behaviors from others towards you, or or you towards others, unhealthy, obsessive in any way, or unequal you might see a resolution of that. First, maybe some escalation, but also resolution and being freed from that afterwards. Also, if you've been working hard on some partnership or on some business deal, which is the 7th house, this can be you seeing the results of it, the peak, the culmination for positive, negative, in a positive or negative way, depending on your actions. Also, Cancers, there is the eclipse in your 9th house. First eclipse in Pisces, and there will be a few for the next few years. So first eclipse in Pisces in your 9th house, powerful change of your consciousness. 9th house is your belief system. 9th house rules how you perceive reality, what you believe. There might be like a bursting of your bubble in some certain, when it comes to how you saw reality and what you saw. Maybe you can change your political views or your spiritual views in some way. This is a process that will carry on probably for a couple of years, but it starts with this eclipse. That something makes you start shifting your beliefs and how you see reality. Also, there might be some big change in the life of a father figure of yours, because 9th house rules father figures, or mentor figure or a teacher. Sometimes eclipses can cause a crisis there, but that will shift you in a different direction or through a different perspective, or in a different relationship with those mentor figures, teacher figures, or a father, real father figure. 9th house is also anything to do with higher education. You might be completing, because it's a full moon, seeing the results, maybe completing some education or higher knowledge, or you might even have some breakthrough psychologically and on spiritual level to access higher realities, because the 9th house is the house of higher realities, higher realizations about your purpose in life, your meaning, seeing a situation from a different, way higher perspective than normal, which frees you from a situation of stagnation in some way. Also, there can be activation with the lunar eclipse in matters regarding foreign travel, foreign relocation, or matters regarding education of some sort, teaching, learning, something big happening there of some importance in your life as well. And of course, they can be activation of meeting a guru or a teacher that changes your life. And this is more a person who has dharmic quality in your life in a way to redirect you towards your dharma, which is your purpose in life. All right, but there might be some kind of a bit initially existential crisis of faith because your faith is changing, your belief system is changing. You might challenge your belief system. Something might challenge internal, external, how you see reality, what you believed in. And there can be a big shift in your loyalties because our belief systems determine our loyalties. Okay, if you're Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this Pluto is entering for the last time your 6th house, maybe asking you to revisit for the last time for the next 2.5 months some health issues to fix with personal responsibilities, Capricorn, and to be more responsible in some regards of your health, to do some more concerted focus, willpower, effort, which is Pluto in regards to your health, to change it. And actually, because Pluto is at that critical 29 degree, it can help you, and it's leaving, it's never coming back again. It can help you resolve some long-lasting health issue and health situation. But that can mean that some health issue that might come back to you. And only to dig deep, to realize, to transform it, to change it, to release it. Because Pluto is basically at the very last critical degree, and it's gonna free you after that from the 6th house matters after November onwards, if you've been struggling with such for some time now. Also, the 6th house is the house of debt. It might connect to you solving the final resolution of some debt. It might be a debt towards another person, like having to take care of another, to be in service to another, or a debt of financial nature as well that you might resolve in some way over the next 2.5 months. The 6th house is also the house of animosity. We call it in ancient astrology the house of enemies. So if you have some, power struggle with another. This can be the last time it's been going on for some time, because Pluto has been in your 6th house almost since 2008. This can be resolved. It can be also last time that you revisit some project or work that you've been doing for some time, and you're completing it and putting final touches to it. And Pluto there might require you to concentrate your efforts to work harder in certain project and some career. And Pluto also wants to eliminate what is not necessary when it comes to your service, to your work, to make you more efficient there as well. So you might put extra efforts when it comes to work, extra dedication and concentration, so you can complete it probably the latest by November, December. And you can give whatever you've been working on to the world as a service. So it might even ask you to release and let go of some old career or direction of career that you've been going on, and you'll be freed from that kind of service. All right, now there is also an eclipse happening, Leo, in your 8th house. Actually, 2 difficult houses activated with the 2 important events for Leo in September, the Pluto in the 6th house and the 8th house eclipse. 8th house eclipse, this is the house of psychological breakthroughs. Maybe if there was some trauma in your life, there can be some psychological release now. But this involves digging deep. This involves some deep realizations about what it is that has more power over you, obsessions, compulsions, anything that is like your inner demons, your internal battle that can escalate now, but also allows you to deal with that. This eclipse allows you to release it. It's a full moon eclipse, to release something, to be free of it in Pisces. Also, there can be some sudden activations of topics connected to insurance, inheritances, and the themes of death and birth, pregnancy or death as well. These are the big themes of the 8th house. If you're in such an age, there might be just news of something, big transformations, changes. The 8th house is also the house of mutual finances, your partners and yours finances, or money that comes to you from others, whether it's your clients or alimony or from the government. This can put some big focus there on such matters. So it might be money that you've put in stock market, for example. There is a big, and of course, eclipse might be a crisis, or it might be, it's with the North Node, hopefully to be more like a gain there, maybe gaining an inheritance or gains from taxes or from stock investments and so on. But it is an eclipse. It's never easy to predict an eclipse, which way it's going to go. So, but the themes are these 8th house themes, resources, stock market and so on. And there can be some powerful release of emotions. This is the 8th house of trauma, feelings and emotions that are stuck in the astral body, almost like release of those traumas. This eclipse can trigger release of traumas, long held traumas and you're going to be doing not just once, because there will be a few more eclipses in Pisces over the next 2, 3, and over the next 1.5, 2 years, basically. So it's first of its case where you can release stored feelings and emotions. And that can go hand in hand. The 6th house, where Pluto is an 8th house, is the house of Pluto. Pluto is in the 6th house of health, and there is eclipse in the 8th house. So kind of 8th house is the house of death and life, both. So you can have like a spontaneous healing of some sort of health as well with Pluto in the 6th house for the last time, and the eclipse in the 8th house, or realizations that lead to that. Okay, now if you're Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, Pluto is entering for the last time in your life for 2.5 months your 5th house. And there till November, till the 20th, let's say, of November. And this means that if you have some unresolved love trauma, because 5th house is love life, from the past, you might revisit it and finally be healed from that. If you have some situations where you've been working very hard towards 5th house goals, it might be towards conceiving, it might be towards finding love, but you've been struggling with it for years. So it might be about some creative project or wanting to have your own personal business, which is again 5th house, your own original ideas that you give birth to. If you've been struggling with such stuff, or maybe having power struggles with your children or loved ones, which is 5th house, the lovers, or some creative issues, then Pluto now on the critical degrees for the last time in your life will solve them. This will be the last time, and actually can give, because I told you that Pluto in Capricorn has been there for many years. So, but Capricorn is a very slow sign. So it might have been repeat. Saturn is a sign of repeat, repeat, repeat. So you might have had some repeat over and over those themes of the 5th house that I mentioned. And now it might be resolved. And now finally, you might get the results of your efforts and reach to this higher level of that 5th house rather than the struggle part of it, while Pluto was in earlier parts of your 5th house. So for some of you, it might be the culmination of finding great love or having a child or resolving a problem with a child of some sort, or creative or personal business problem that it escalates or gives you a chance to create this personal business. And then after that, you'll be freed from those issues. And the 5th house can be also speculative investments, Virgos. So yeah, if you've been smart with your speculative investments, you might now reap the rewards of that. Or if you haven't been smart, Pluto can destroy them. So I don't know where it goes, but this can be one of the themes. And then the other big event for Virgos is the eclipse in the 7th house. If you're Virgo, especially around 20 to 30 degrees, sun, moon, or rising, this eclipse will really, you will feel it. It can be life-changing. If it's your sun in Virgo, the eclipse from your 7th house can make a big shift in your career, maybe seeing the results of some career project and getting recognition of some sort, or maybe shifting to a new direction in career. Or with you have to always be careful about your health, Virgos, when there are eclipses opposite you. So yeah, and the eclipses with Saturn and Neptune. So this is something to be cautious about and not to take big risks with your health. But otherwise, the 7th house, if it's your ascendant in Virgo, it can very much be a big shift in your relationships, big change that taking a relationship to the next stage. If you're in an unhappy relationship, finally being free from it, completing some business partnership, releasing the results of it, or some mutual project with another, or completing some contract or agreement, or maybe because the eclipse is with the North Node, you can receive something from another. A person in your life that brings something to you that really changes your direction in life. If you're in the right relationship, it can mean that there's something big happening in the life of your partner, big change there that you can see, or a partner that appears, a partnership that really changes your life. Or if you're not in the right relationship, personal, contractual, business, whichever, it can be the end of it. It's an eclipse. It's not small events, it's fate and big events that happen. But there is also this energy of moksha, because Pisces is a moksha sign of liberation, being freed of some kind of a burden as well. But also there is this energy of being rewarded for hard efforts. Saturn is the south-north node, and it's a full moon as well. And especially through a relationship, through another, through a mutual project or business project, because 7th house has anything to do with business, it's your clients and so on. Now, if you're Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus this month is in your sign Libra, so it's protecting you no matter what else is happening, eclipses and whatnot, but Venus is there, gracing you with its charm, bringing more love, more gentleness, protection to you, more likability, and attracting the right people as well. But the first major event in September is that Pluto will go back to your 4th house. For the last time in your life, it's been there since 2008, maybe huge changes happen in your 8th house, up and downs in family, like my husband being a Libra rising, first created family, big changes, moving in different areas of your life. And it's there for the last time. So maybe this big transformations in personal life, changes in relocations or places of living or with your family, they're finally gonna come to an end. Or if you've been putting hard efforts or struggling with something connected to real estate, to parents, to the relationship with your parents, in your role as a parent yourself, or with lands, with property, with real estate, if you've been struggling for a long time for such matters, or even psychological struggles from your childhood, from your early childhood and parenthood, for how you were raised, for family patterns, these are gonna end now. This is the last time they're coming. Pluto is coming there to resolve them. It will stay at the very last 29 degrees of your fourth house. So there is this healing there. There is this seeing a result. So maybe if you've been working hard to find real estate, maybe you finally are aware to live, you get clarity. Or if you've been having problem with some real estate or with the watering or the foundations in your house, those issues go away. Or if you've been moving a lot or not settling or having crisis in your home and your family, or just very intense developments there with parents, with whatever, this is the last time this escalates and it gets resolved. You might even by the end of this period, by November, December, be clear about where you want to live, or something to do with your real estate, or something to do with your family as well. And it's going to be, it's like healing of childhood traumas that's happening there with Pluto for the last time there. But possibly revisiting the past in some way, or revisiting your roots, or going back to where you're from. Or it can mean as well, fourth house is property, real estate, doing some renovations, because Pluto wants to destroy and rebuild again, and that you finally do it now, but you have like about 2-3 months period for this. Of course, some crisis can come back to personal life and family, but again, this is Pluto for the last time there, so it's going to be solved and you'll be freed from that. Then Libra, there is also the eclipse that's happening in your sixth house. On the 18th of September, it's eclipses with Saturn and Neptune. So you have to be cautious about your health there. But as I said, because Venus is in your sign, which is your physical body, there is protection there. But there can be a big breakthrough, a change of mind, of consciousness in regards to how you take care of your health. There might be some health scare, and because of that, you change your diet, or you change how you eat, or supplements, or because the sixth house is how you take care of your health habits. So there might be some big shift there, because Saturn is part of the eclipse. You might be much more committed as well. And it is just the first of a few eclipses in your sixth house. So this will be a topic that you're taking very seriously for the next year or two ahead. But yeah, this is the first time you can make a very big change there. Also, there can be a big change with your daily routines. Maybe changing your routines, changing your work as well. There can be a big shift with someone's work or employment. So if you're a boss owner with your employees, big changing there, shifting that you have to do in some way with how you do your work, how you, your daily practices. There might be surprises there with this eclipse, definitely, that you have to change something. All right. So that's for Libra. Scorpio sun, lunar rising. For the last time in your life, Pluto is entering your third house. So you might complete some project connected to media, to marketing, to writing, or you might revisit for the last time someone from the past to reconnect with siblings, or to solve some issue you've had for a long time with siblings, or with neighbors, or with workmates, teammates, and mates of any sort. But also people from the past can come back to you. But also you've been having long-standing issues connected to this third house area. Now they get solved. Now they come up for the last time first, and then they get solved by the end of November, something like that. So if there's anything to do with transportations, with communications, with being heard, with finding your voice, with working in a team, if there's been any issue. So if you've been working on some project, commercial, business enterprise, which is third house, is very business oriented, you might be completing it, putting final touches to it, and now you'll see the results of it as well. But of course, there might be some as I said, power struggle with those third house people, relatives, siblings, or some important crisis or development in your life connected to other people in your life, like relatives and so on, that escalates. And any kind of power struggles, anything to do with education, to learning skills, knowledge, after that, it's kind of like it gives its positive results and its culmination. So you revisit this for the last time in your life, and then you're free from such matters. Then there is the eclipse Scorpio, which is happening in your 5th house. On the 18th of September, this eclipse will be active for about 2-3 months after that. This can be powerful activation for your love life, for example, meeting a romantic partner that is fated, or ending a romantic partnership, because it is a full moon eclipse. Sometimes it can be about endings with someone that is not positive anymore in your life. But something big is happening there. Also, if you have children, there can be a big shift in their life, like your child starting a new chapter, your relationship with your child is changing in some way. Or also, it can be, for some of you, it can be even big news like getting pregnant, for example. Or 5th house is also your creative project. So if you have your own business, this would be your 5th house, because this is your own personal ideas and your own personal creative intelligence that you use there. So there can be a culmination of some sort there with the eclipse, bringing it to the surface over the next 2-3 months, some creative project that you've been working on, some personal business matter, or completing it and, seeing the results of it in some way as well. What else is the 5th house? It's entertainment. It's becoming famous. Some of you, if you're someone trying to become famous, or in the entertainment industry, or in careers that are center stage, where you're in the spotlight in some way, this is the 5th house, you might have very powerful activation in that area of your life for the next 2-3 months because of an eclipse there. And some big redirection of your career, next direction, some big change there. If it's a career connected to 5th house, either entertainment, either politics as well, if you're in that, or speculative investments. But because Saturn is there, I advise you not to take big risks and chances with speculative investments. It's not about, it's more about being conservative there. Otherwise, there might be some crisis situation. All right, if you're Sagittarius Sun, Moon, or Rising, Pluto is entering for the last time in your 2nd house. And this is your finances. Pluto has been going through your house of finances since 2008, 2009. So if you've been having a lot of ups and downs financially, or reversals, changes, possibly some very positive developments as well. Now, if you've been putting a lot of hard work in anything to do with your security finances, might be the time for your reward. Pluto comes there for the last time to give you a reward, to see the results, so you can see the results of your personal efforts in regards to finances. And if you've been having problems and difficulties there with security, financial security, and so on, this can be the end of it. This can be the final resolution of such situations. You might even get rich over the next 2-3 months if you have done the right work with Pluto over the last 16 years, 15-14 years in your 2nd house. It can be even like a big change and of your, or even something old, valuable that you have that you can gain back now, or that you can put life into, and it can give you a financial reward. But something might be an antique, or something that you thought was useless, but you find out that it actually has value. Also, your personal values can be reshaped now for the last time and changed in a powerful way. Transformed as well. Or if you've been struggling with anything 2nd house, like money, but this is also eating habits, food, what you put in your body, Sagittarius, this can be finding the solution of those issues for the last time. For the last time, finally, you'll find them, and then you'll be free from such problems. So if you've been having problems with your teeth for a long time, or problems with your anything to do with that part of second house rules the face, the teeth, the throat as well, what you eat as well, so on, and the finances. So all such problems over the next 2-3 months should get resolved with Pluto there for the last time. Then there is the eclipse in your fourth house, Sagittarius, especially a bit the later born Sagittarius from 20 to 30 degrees will feel this eclipse very powerfully because it's at 25 degrees in Pisces. Well, it's the first eclipse in your fourth house. There might be a big shift for some of you over the next few months. You might move to live somewhere else. Might be a new place, new house, or new country, new town. There might be some big change in your personal life with a mother figure. The fourth house, the house of endings. There might be some endings as well, or with in your personal life in some way. It doesn't have to be negative, you know. Or you might be doing something over the next few months connected to real estate, to property, to vehicles as well, to land, because fourth house rules all of those matters where the eclipse is happening, something big there, like shifting, changing, doing renovations, who knows, something of this, or some big change in your family as well. As I said, sometimes it can be a crisis that happens on a personal level. I have to warn that because it's a possibility. But because this eclipse is also activating your 10th house with the sun here, there can be some big shift that you're experiencing, Sagittarius, in your career as well, and with your social status. But yeah, here, family, home, place of living, and career can be a big change there. Plus, the eclipse activates your 7th house of relationships and Jupiter. Jupiter is the ruler of the eclipse. Square Saturn, square the eclipse. Powerful. They might actually, Jupiter is at the peak of this eclipse, of this configuration. There might be some big development with your partnership or with your partner that affects your personal life and even your career and social status, or even might be something that you make a big choice about a relationship that affects your personal life, or that something happens with a relationship that really maybe someone appears and that changes where you live, or maybe someone leaves your life as a partnership and that changes how your personal, this fourth house here, your personal circumstances in life where you live and so on. But yeah, for some Sagittarius, this eclipse and configuration has the possibility to be a big game changer in some way. If not this one, then there'll be another eclipse in March 2025 in your fourth house that brings very powerful new beginnings in your personal life. This is more about conclusions, seeing final results, maybe completing a renovation. Maybe if you've been trying to move, you relocate now, or maybe some change, something leaving your personal life in some way. Now, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Pluto enters your life for the last time ever in your life. It's gone there from 2008, and maybe there was a lot of ups and downs in your life. I saw Pluto's be destroyed, not Pluto's, but Capricorn have their life totally reconstructed over the years while Pluto was in their sign. And this is the last time Pluto is dipping into your sign for 2.5 months. Maybe it will give you a reward now because you've done the hard work. And Pluto, just as we say, Pluto is our ego getting dismantled, our old life getting dismantled, and we're being rebuilt new again. And some of the issues of the past will come back again, but only so they can be fully resolved. So if you've been having more than normal crisis in your life in the last years, more than normally stressful situations, life and death situation, big changes, instabilities, or even if you had, Pluto gave empowerment to many people, empowerment, positions of renown and recognition and power and so on. But Pluto is coming there, and if you've been working hard or struggling with some issue, this can be the final moment for it. You can solve it. something that you might have been really for years trying to achieve. Now you can get the crown, get rewarded for that, for your personal efforts. You've been trying to change yourself, your health, but struggling with it with repeated efforts. Now it can be finally that you're achieving it. Your personal transformation, or if it's your sun in Capricorn, might be connected to your career. If it's your moon, your personal, psychological, and personal life, your ascendant, overall, yourself, your health. You might be able to achieve this finally and be free from this Plutonian energy by November, by the end of November, having to fend for your life, having to be in a fight and flight energy all the time. But Pluto in Capricorn definitely gave you the edge. But you learn, this is the last time it's coming there. And usually when a last time planet is at the last degree of something, it gives it rewards for the hard work, for all the tests that you went through. You can have this culmination and reward now. The other big news is that there is an eclipse in your third house together with Saturn. Saturn is close to the eclipse, and Neptune. There can be some big developments there in regards to siblings, relatives, neighbors, teammates, workmates. Maybe if you've been working on some project with teammates, workmates, you can see the results for it over the next couple of months. But there might be some crisis there in relationships with siblings, with relatives, people in your close environment as well. There can be also something big change happening in regards to transportations or vehicles in your life. But it's an eclipse, it's more likely to have accidents and stuff connected. So be careful when driving, for example, especially during night. Saturn is involved. Also be careful with technologies around the 18th of September, any communication, transportation devices, which is the third house. And of course, around that time, some communication. So if you want to go and write something, or just because eclipses can make us lose our mind, lose our cool. So in communications, in correspondence with others, try and be more controlled. Use the energy of Capricorn, Pluto in your sign again, because you're naturally very controlled sign, but Pluto there makes you even more controlled. To control this when it comes to communication, but some important news can come to you with this eclipse in the third house. Some important documentations and papers can be also happening that you have to deal with, let's say. It can also indicate the opening of a portal, because eclipses do that in regards to learning something. But for a few moments, it might feel a bit dark because it's in your third house of the mind. So you might feel like eclipse in your mind, that you're confused or you're having worries, that you're worrying more. Third house of the monkey mind with Saturn, the eclipse, Neptune. You might be making mountains out of molehills as well with Neptune there. And so just if you're having this more feeling worried in your mind psychologically, remember it's the eclipse in your third house. If you can calm your mind down with any practices or whatever. But also it's a very spiritual influence of Saturn and Neptune in the third house with the eclipse. They can be communication with invisible realms. They can be connection to inspiration or some downloads as well. But yeah, third houses, they can also advise you, if possible, not to travel around the 18th, transportation and anything. This is the third house. Just be a bit more cautious in that area. But then again, there can be a big indications that, for example, you might need to change after this eclipse your vehicle, or you might need to change your laptop or something. This third house that can be happening, something with, as I said, relatives, siblings, and so on, people in your everyday environment, that you might be releasing some of those people. And because eclipses can cause a crisis, and you say, like, I don't want those people on my feed on Facebook or Instagram anymore, or I don't want to be part of this group that we gather and crochet, or the toxic environment for me, or like I'm not gonna contact my friends or relatives or neighbors for something, because eclipses sometimes can do that. But otherwise, just it can be just like more important events with such people. All right, so if you are Aquarius and Lunar rising, Pluto is dipping for the last time in your 12th house. Okay, what is 12th house? Self-sabotaging behaviors, addictions, or psychological issues that you haven't solved from the past. And maybe a lot of you have been struggling or going through a lot of those things for the last 14, 15 years, while Pluto's been in your 12th house, but it's in Capricorn. It needs repeated efforts over and over and over. The results are not fast, they're slow, if at all. Now Pluto is coming for the last time at the very last degree in your 12th house, in the sign there. So you might be freed from some, finally resolve it, tackle it with willpower, Pluto. Resolve some self-sabotaging behavior, some addiction, some hidden enemies. Who is our biggest hidden enemy? Usually we are ourselves, but also some secrets can come to the surface, some deep psychological realizations, some memories from past lifetimes as well, but also the last degree always rewards you. When a planet is at the last degree of a sign, you get the results of your efforts. And you might be freed after those 2.5 months from some 12th house experience in your life, especially one you've been struggling with for a long time. It might be a hidden enemy, it might be your own self-sabotaging behaviors, it might be some losses, it might be some phobias, some fears, some psychological weaknesses, let's say. But also it can be a portal to connect you to your inner self, to go more introspective, to find your inner strength. And this is Pluto's reward for the 15, 16 years it stayed in your 12th house. You'll receive it over the next 2-3 months for hard efforts, overcoming your inner demons in some way. It might be a spiritual rewards, because if you've been doing spiritual work, it might be a breakthrough to a higher consciousness. For example, it might be a breakthrough to a connection, some mystical experience. It might be a breakthrough if you've been having troubles with sleeping, for example, with phobias, with paranoias, or 12th house rules the subconscious plus the bed, how we sleep. They might come for the last time just to be resolved. The healing crisis, as we call it, the last time Pluto does something, healing crisis, and you're freed from that. And of course, 12th house can be some hidden health issues that you are unaware of, though that you've been struggling, but they're kind of mystery ones, and you're not sure. Pluto comes and heals them. 12th house, it also is, if you've been struggling with psychic attacks, they might finally be freed from that, or with, I said, demons, inner demons, visible and invisible. They're either your own or, from outside. You might finally be freed from that, win that battle. Or if you've been having some battle with other hidden enemies, it might be the resolution of it. Or if you've been in some kind of a situation for a long time where there is limitation of your movement, limitation of your, this 12th house is the house of prisons of some sort, psychological, mental limitations. You might be freed again for the next 2.5 months. Pluto can reward you and free you from that. Also, there can be some spiritual gifts from you in this 12th house. So pay attention, powerful intuitions, and so on. Then, if you've been working on some project behind the scenes that is more creative, that is more, let's say, 12th house, which is more inspirational of some sort, it might be that you're finally completing it now with Pluto in the 12th house. Then there is another eclipse in your second house. Eclipses, as we know, can do some life-changing developments, and it's in your house of values, finances. It can be a big important month with finances, where your money is in. It can be some big thing about it that is important. You're moving them, changing something there where your investments are, or maybe some big realization and shift how you make your money. And it's not going to be just on the 18th of September when the eclipse is, but it will be possibly, and there might be a big event with the whole world connected to money, because we're in the Aquarian Saturn Jupiter conjunction 20-year period, and this eclipse is happening in the second house from the Aquarius Jupiter Saturn conjunction. So there might be a big event September, October in finances and money, but somehow this is directly connected to you as well. And this might be like if you've been working hard, because this is a full moon eclipse with the North Node, which tends to give you something, you might gain something financially. If you've been working hard on something already existing project, you can see the results of it now. But also there can be some crisis with finances. Also, second house is how you eat, your eating habits, your values, what you consider tasty, beautiful, valuable. It can shift in a powerful way. It can be triggered by positive or not so positive events. Saturn and Neptune are there as well, but you can change your eating ways and you can become very serious in regards to that. Saturn is part of the eclipse, but it's kind of fated that you change your food and diet and preferences to what you like in a very strong way. Okay. And last but not least is Pisces. Pisces, from the very beginning of the month, Pluto enters for the last time your 11th house. And only for 2.5 months it will stay there. And if you've been struggling for years, maybe with income, which is the 11th house, or if you've been struggling with friendships, which is also the 11th house, so yeah, these things will be resolved now. This is the last time Pluto is there, so it solves those all last problems. Or 11th house is public opinion towards you, your social circle problems can come up for the last time and be resolved. But also, if you've been working hard for years now, with consistent efforts towards better income or gains, towards some long-term goal or dream, which is also the 11th house, towards some social recognition of some sort, or some title and honors and titles, which is the 11th house. Now you can receive it, because the last time Pluto, the very last degree of Capricorn, gives its results of your efforts. Because Pluto was in your 11th house for many, many years, since 2008, 9. And now you finally will get the rewards for whatever efforts you did there. So some of you might be big gains that come. For others might be fulfilling of some dream that they've been trying hard to do. For others might be some social recognition and so on. And then the really big event, Pisces, is the eclipse in your sign, especially if you're around 25 degrees Sun, Moon, or Rising. Life-changing, what can I say? I would give it 5 degrees, so from 20 till 30 degrees in Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but all Pisces will feel this eclipse in some way, because it can shift the direction of their life. It's like as I say, the rails of the train are changing one direction to another. The eclipse is right in your sign. You'd probably make through your own initiative some big change in your life. Of course, you have to be careful about your health around that time, but usually health, and don't take big risks around the 17th, 18th, 19th. It's a lunar eclipse, so it lasts for about 3 months, but it can be like a big shift in your relationships if it's your ascendant around those degrees, because you're changing in some way. There might be like a powerful change there, whether the ending of relationship or starting of a new chapter in your life. Sorry. If it's around your sun in those degrees, Pisces, this can be a big shift in the life of your father, for example, because last time my husband had an eclipse on his sun, I was like, oh, within 3 days, his dad calls and he says he's changing his whole life, selling his businesses, whatever, because the sun is also the father, but also it can be like a big shift that's starting to happen. It might carry on for a while, because there's another eclipse in Pisces in March, in regards to your career, the direction in your life, your identity, who you are. If it's your moon there around those degrees, it can be your personal life or relationships as well. There is a big change. And this is an eclipse with the North Node, so it tends to give something. When I had eclipses over my moon with the North Node, both those years, I got pregnant start a family, so you can give something big in personal life or with your career, if it's over the sun, a big new direction and so on. So there you go. Huge for Pisces and Virgo this month, and possibly for Sagittarius and Gemini as well, but for everyone with Pluto revisiting to give its rewards and to grant you its gift for the last time, for the year, since 2008, to grant you with its rewards for the hard work you've done for many years with Pluto transiting through that house. So check out my Christina's 2025 video and written horoscopes. They're incredible, 120 pages for each sign, if you're interested. And may you be blessed in September.